Joseph.
What's up?
What's up, Joey B? Hey, you want to kick us off with our favorite thing?
Already jumped
I
into it.
love it. Love it. Welcome to episode 11 of Socratic Sports. We got a lot to break down from this weekend. And Joey B, I'll let you kick it off for me, buddy.
Awesome. Yes. So gonna jump right into the NBA. Before we get into the Western and Eastern Conference Finals, wanted to talk about what I thought were the two biggest stories of the weekend. So Monty Williams being fired. And then I wanted to talk about John Morant.
Oh.
So since I brought up the topics, do you have a specific order? Anything?
You go.
Either?
Hey,
Okay.
you run with it, buddy.
So we'll go with Monty. We'll go with Monty.
Okay.
I am very surprised that he was fired.
Me too.
I don't think he should have been fired.
Me too.
Now, the one thing I will say, and then I'll get your piece on it. What I actually thought of immediately when I saw it was I actually thought of your Rangers. And I think there is a direct parallel to Gerard Gallant getting fired. So ultimately, to me, this is a case of Phoenix underperformed after making a huge swing at the trade deadline. And I guess the new owner, Matt Ishiba? I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
I think it is Ishiba. I think, yeah.
I guess wanted to make a statement of this was your chance and somebody needed to take the fall, and unjustly it was Monty. So I'll kick it to you.
Yeah, again, it was a surprise to me too. But what I think the ultimate thing is that, let's be real, he was just outclassed in the playoffs. I mean, and not just this season, last season. And I get it, regular season. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw the stat that he was the winningest coach. I can't even say the word. But the last 4 seasons, I think, since he became the Suns.
That sounds right. I mean, he totally turned the Suns around.
Yeah. Without a doubt. He did a great job at turning. You're absolutely right with that phrase, turning the Suns around. He did that. He was just like a modern day Mike D'Antoni. When Mike D'Antoni had Steve Nash and all those boys back in the day, and took them to places that no one thought the Suns could reach. And the same here. But just like what we talked about, it's in all sports, it's a cutthroat league, man. And he's a heck of a coach. Somebody is going to be more than happy to grab him, and he won't be out of a job for long. I don't think so. Was it a surprise? Yes. If it, again, and we don't, we talk about sports. We're not part of the sports, actually, so we don't actually know what goes on behind the scenes. And we don't know, under that pressure of actually wanting to win the whole thing, is that, if you don't, does that mean termination? And it's just because if I look at myself, if I'm him, the past 4 seasons, I did what I did in the regular season. I should be good for a long time. You should be giving me extension, not firing me. So yeah, that's just my thought. Was I surprised? Yes. But after realizing that, hey, we are in this cutthroat league, I can see why.
So interesting. You said, I agree that he's going to get picked up, and because I was actually just Googling to see his winning percentage. So here I can share my screen real fast. There you go. It's Google search for what it's worth.
Yeah.
So there he is. He was 194 and 115 with the Suns. It's a 62.8 total winner percentage very good. But then this is what caught my eye. He is emerging as the Bucks' top choice.
That makes
Again,
sense.
take it with what it is. Clutch Points website. So yeah,
no, that
interesting.
Makes,
interesting.
I mean, one of the best coaches was arguably the best player in the league, and Giannis makes sense, you know. But again, then now comes that pressure again. If that did happen, I mean, we talking championship or bust with the Bucks, you know, and he just did that with the Suns, you know.
Yes. Another kind of thing I want to float. I don't. Just kind of my not 2 cents, but something interesting I thought about was, is it possible, and I'd be surprised because all I've ever heard is he has great relationships with his players. But is it possible that KD might have had something to do with this? Maybe.
I don't. I'm not really think. I don't think so. I think
so?
I think he's too well respected for that. I mean, from what I saw and from the articles you read, you know, and we don't have. I mean, again, we just talk about this. We don't have the inside scoop like, you know, some of these professionals on TV have. But I mean, from what you see and what you hear, just seems like a, you know, a well respected coach. And again, it was. I don't think it was a surprise just for, you know, us. I think it was a surprise for a lot of people around the league. And I think it comes to the point where what I think is that the new owner, what was his name again? I'm sorry, Matt. Yeah, you're right. Ishiba. Yeah. So, you know, he's taken over, and you know, the first thing he probably see was, hey, we don't have Devin Booker for much longer. We probably don't have Chris Paul for much longer. We probably don't even have KD for much longer. So the time to win is now. And you had this opportunity the past couple of seasons with Devin Booker in his prime to get there, and you know, you just haven't. And so it's time for a change, and we need to, you know, they I guess this change is a win now mentality. Can you win now without a great coach, which Monty was? And the same with the Bucks. If the Bucks take Monty, well, he has, you know, if they, I would assume, let's say they do take Monty, they probably give him a 4 or 5 year contract. He has those 4 or 5 years to actually prove himself. And if you don't win with Booker, KD, and Chris Paul, and then you don't win with Giannis, does that say more about the coaching, or does that say more about the players? So then that'd be a whole nother topic in a few years, you know?
Yeah, very good point. So the only reason I brought up the KD stuff was, I mean, it's kind of at least something I've noticed with the NBA. This is just my 2 cents. I think more than any other professional sport, the players have a way bigger influence on coaching hires and coaching stability, specifically the superstars. So obviously the one I think of most, LeBron. I think LeBron pretty much, if he likes you, you get to stay. If he doesn't, you're out the door. You kind of
Frank
saw
Vogel.
that. Frank Vogel. And the bigger one to me, David Blatt.
Oh, yeah, in Cleveland. Yeah,
in Cleveland. And, you know, again, I mean, KD, I wouldn't say he has a history of it, but, you know, you saw Steve Nash out the door, which I didn't think Steve Nash really should have gotten the Brooklyn Nets job.
Then KD was out the door.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I don't think KD has that. I don't want to say, I don't want to say super, because he is a superstar. I mean, it's KD, but I don't think he has that influence like LeBron does. I think there are a few people in the league that does. I would say, LeBron, yes. Luka, yes. Giannis, yes. I can't think of anyone else that will have that. I mean, Joel, maybe. maybe, but
I would. I mean, you don't think Steph may? I mean, obviously he's good with Steve Kerr.
Yeah, I'm about to say that, and yeah, I don't see. I think Kerr is too much affiliated with the top office to have them, and I don't see Steph as that person to do that. I guess I don't know. But again,
I agree.
but
I don't think he would do it. It's just,
but
I think if
that
he
power.
wanted
I
to
mean,
make
yeah,
it happen,
yeah. Okay, without a doubt,
Yeah.
without a doubt. But again, like you said, so we had two. This is the second time as far as a coach getting fired after having an amazing couple of years, and again, Monty, and then Buttenhauser
Coach
or
Bud.
Bud.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Coach
like
Bud.
yeah, it happened to him too. So, which I don't think he'll be out for too long either. I think he's
No, I don't think so.
too good of a coach too. So yeah, I mean, man, it's just such a cutthroat league, and I mean, again, I don't feel bad because again, like we just said, he will find somewhere else to go. Who I do feel bad for is Booker, because he is such a good talent. If he just have the right leader in front of him, which I think he had, but now you take that away and now you got to replace that with somebody else. Like who can do that? Who can lead? And I'm not 100% sure, because I'm thinking of a coach right now, but did he take? I think he did take the Rockets job. The guy from the Celtics, the one who got that scandal.
Oh yeah, how do you Udoka?
Yeah.
I hope I'm pronouncing his name.
Yeah. That's but you know who I'm talking about. But
yeah,
I thought he would have been a good fit for like a Phoenix team. But I mean, again, he's with the Rockets now, so that's out of the question. And I really don't know. I mean, I saw somewhere. I think JJ Redick has been.
I don't
looking.
Get that. What?
I don't know him.
I don't
Mark,
even think he's been an assistant coach in the NBA.
Yeah, no, straight to head coach. Mark from that does the ESPN calls with Jeff Van Gundy.
I don't know who we're talking about. So I'm gonna float again another kind of probably crazy theory. I'm gonna float this.
Mark Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. So good.
Because this was something I immediately thought of yesterday. Once the news came down, and then after the debacle that was Game 7, that was the joke of a game. What about Doc Rivers in Phoenix?
I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't think he's finished in Philly.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's finished in Philly. I think James Harden is finished in Philly. I think Joel is. I mean, did you see what he said yesterday though?
Which one, Joel?
Yeah.
I did not. I did not see it.
He said he was doing a post game interview, and then he said something on the lines like, I can't do it by myself, and Harden can't do it by ourselves, and we need.
Oh yeah.
We need like help, and I'm like, like
I don't know. I didn't
like y'all didn't score 100 and some points by ourselves. What are you talking about, dude?
I don't know.
Tobias Harris had points. Like, what are you talking about?
Tyrese Maxey.
That was and again, that's probably just one of those frustration situations where he says something like that. But if he honestly believes that, I mean, that's your MVP, bro. Like, that's the you the MVP. This is something you wanted. Like don't you got to take ownership of that. You can't just be the MVP and then and then say, "Oh, I need help." Like, what?
I know.
Yeah.
I don't think Doc is done in Philly, like in the sense of I don't think they would fire Doc. But if I'm Doc, I'm just saying, if that job was offered to me, I would take the Phoenix job just because, honestly, and I hate saying this because it feels like wrong in the sense of they've come so far. This should be working at this point. I think Philly needs to tear it down. I think the process hasn't worked.
They need a new process.
Honestly, yes. It sucks. It sucks because you've been so close. But like you have yet to go to the at least the Eastern Conference Finals. And you've had this elite team. And Joel finally won the MVP. I think Harden you let walk because I think he's a UF at the end of this or now.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think you trade Embiid. You're gonna get the max value. Listen, you get he just won an MVP. You can get the max value for him.
Doc would definitely leave then. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, I think you talk to Doc, you guys come to this agreement of like, hey, maybe it's best we both move on. And you just rebuild it. And I know 76ers fans don't want to hear that, but I don't see where you go from here.
That's
like
true.
you said the last episode, the number 1 seed goes out. Like this was your time. And you just you let game 6 slip through your fingers.
Yeah. And then get demolished in game 7.
The way they looked at the end of game 6 carried over to game 7. It was like, I don't know. It was like they just signed off like, all right, it's over now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the rebuild, that's tough. Because you know what? Like they're holding on to this, I don't want to say a fantasy or a dream, but I mean, with Embiid, this is their window. This is their time to win has been like we've been trusting the process for a long time. I mean, from
you're going on
getting Ben Simmons
decade now.
Yeah. It's been. I mean, you get Harden. They've been a team to be reckoned with, but they haven't done any wrecking. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, and so. I mean, there are some good jobs out there, like you said, the Phoenix job, the Milwaukee job, the Toronto job. Like that, if that was to happen, like you say, Doc has options, and any team would love to have him.
Yeah.
So I mean, giving them. I mean, if we talking about trading Embiid, I mean, somebody they would have to give up a lot. I'm talking, like. First round, the next 3 years, because I mean he has a good. He's not done like nowhere. I think Embiid has like elite. A good 5 years. Yeah. He has a good 5 years left. So I think, you will have to give up a lot. Is he worth it? I think so because you know what these. I mean, I don't know much about who's coming out of the draft, but I mean, I mean, I'm not hearing. ESPN or anybody talk about the next coming, so it's interesting if somebody want to pull that trigger, it'd be a blockbuster trade. It'd be something crazy to see.
So that is the only thing that does put me on a pause is I looked, I don't see a team that where I'm like, that would make sense. Like they
will have to swap superstars.
Away.
Yeah, they will have to. Yeah.
Or like the team's first round draft pick for the next 3 years or something.
Yeah. It has to be something crazy. Yeah. That's why I think it's too much. What I think happens, I think this off season, I think Harden leaves. There's rumors he was going to Houston. He want to go back to come back here to Texas. Which with the new coach that just came from Boston, for some reason I can't think of this dude's first name. But
it's IME. I don't know how to pronounce it, to be honest.
Umi or Ome, something like that. But anyway, I know his face because he's in this Scandal, but I can't remember how to pronounce it because he's been out the past year. But he was a great coach for the Celtics. Now going to Houston, that can bring Harden over there. They can rebuild in Houston, so Houston probably have something next year. Joel and someone, I just don't know who. Maybe Joel and Kyrie. I I don't see like you talking somebody who's. I mean, in order for okay, Harden to leave, but I don't see them trading anybody, so they will have to just sign a free agent
Yeah.
and to see who's. Let's see.
Yeah, I looked up the free agent class isn't. It's not great.
Let's see. So yeah, oh, I didn't even know Kyrie was, but yeah, so Kyrie, KD, I mean KD and Joel, that can be a possibility.
Is KD a free agent? I thought he was signed through 2025.
He could be, unless I'm looking at the. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. I found the right one. Yeah. So,
you can throw it up on the screen if you want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot to share my screen. Sorry, guys. We're getting used to this new this new platform. All right. Let's see. All right. Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
So yeah. Like I said, Kyrie.
Westbrook could be an interesting one.
Westbrook could be an interesting one. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that just doesn't. I don't know. Fred Van Fleet is not a bad one. Yeah, I mean, you said it right. There's not much of an option for him. I mean, it would have to come by a trade.
Hey, you could get Dylan Brooks.
So
I'm sure he's going to be the hottest player on the market.
So it's not much of an option out there. Yeah, whatever they're going to get is going to either be by trade, especially if Harden leaves. If Harden leaves, they are definitely going down a little bit in the standings. I think they still make the playoffs with Joel, with all the role players. But so then us talking about this, and I'll pose this question: does Joel need another superstar?
Oh yeah,
you think? Okay.
I mean, yeah, I can't think of a single superstar that has won a championship with just good. I mean, I know you mentioned Cleveland the last time. I mean,
yeah, LeBron. I mean, he had Kyrie, but
yeah, I personally put Kyrie in terms of his playing ability. I see him as a superstar.
I don't think he's a superstar. I think listen, his handles, his can he take that shot? Yes. But just as a superstar, I don't know. I mean, maybe maybe that's just me.
Do you see Klay Thompson as a superstar? Because if not, then
that's a good question.
Steph,
that is a really good
Steph
question.
Won 4.
Steph without a doubt. Yeah, Steph without a doubt is a superstar. But think about it like this: Klay was out for one of those or two of those.
Yeah,
because he got hurt and then they won. So
what about Draymond?
Is he a good?
Is Draymond a superstar? I'm serious. Is he a superstar? I'm serious.
I'm like, are you just gonna throw the whole Warriors team at me?
Yeah.
Look, I think Draymond for sure is that he's the Dennis Rodman.
Okay.
He's that, he's that powerhouse that you need that oh man, who am I thinking of? What was old boy from the Pistons with the fro?
Ben Wallace?
Ben Wallace, yeah. Like you need that Ben Wallace type of play. Like that's how I see Drake. Now, is he a great player? Yes. Superstar? No, I don't think he's a superstar. Okay. Steph, without a doubt. Again, what he does off and on the court, yes, he's a superstar. Okay. Klay, again, Klay got hurt, and they still won. Not saying, hey, but their window of winning is even higher when Klay is there. Yeah. I don't know who. It's this funny guy I follow on Instagram, and he was saying he was doing this parody where he was pretending to be Draymond because every time after a game or whatever, Draymond does his podcast, and after they lost to the Lakers, he was pretending to be Draymond and do the podcast, and he was just looking like all his boys do the podcast with him too, or the videos with him, and all his boys was in a house, and they was playing their position. So one of his boys was Jordan Poole, one of his boys was Steph Curry, one of his boys was Clay, and he goes and he's talking, and he's just like, Clay, huh? You still think you top 75, huh? Because Clay thought he should have been a top 75 player. He was like, hey, did you not see your stats? Top 75, huh? And I was like, it was funny, but at the same time, I'm like, that is a valid point, it is a valid point. Now, again, I'm not, I would never take anything away from greatness. I could barely, shoot the ball, but, a superstar, they're superstars, and then they're great role players. And I think Kyrie was a great role player for LeBron, and they won. And I think the same thing with Clay and Steph. And even Kyrie, if I'm not mistaken, had an interview a few months back or something like that, or the end of last year, because they was trying to figure out exactly where he wanted to go with after being done with the Nets. And obviously, I think the Lakers was like one of his options before. And I'll say this right now: I think Kyrie and LeBron reunite next year in LA. Just I'll put that out there. Okay. But anyway, he was saying that at his age at that time when he was playing with LeBron, he wished he was in a different mindset than what he was, because he did want the ball, he did want to be the superstar. But if you see what LeBron is right now, if you just listen to LeBron and let him lead the way, I think his career would have been totally different than what we're talking about right now. Not saying LeBron is all and end all, and he's like, oh, listen, but you have those who know the game and want to lead you. And hey, just let Michael, hey, let me lead the way. You guys get behind me, and we're gonna win. And look what happened. Yeah. And I think LeBron was that player. Listen to him, let him lead the way. You guys will win, no problem. So yeah. I again, I have to take in again, Draymond, great role player. Clay, great second, second option, and then Steph is the superstar in my opinion. So yeah, okay.
I like it. Yeah. So interesting stuff. Both surprised at the Monty Williams firing. Mm-hmm. He'll get a job, and I guess we'll see where the Suns go.
Yeah.
So with that, let's throw it into Ja. So I guess ultimately,
I would love to hear your feedback. Yeah. Okay. Throw me the question.
And this is probably going to sound super stupid of me. What is he being suspended for? I'm serious. Like, what did he do? Did he do something illegal, or are they just, do they feel that he doesn't represent the NBA?
Did you see the video?
I didn't see it. I heard like he's waving a gun around.
Yeah. So let me. So again, so the first time, same thing. He was on social media, and he waved his gun, and boom, they had a conversation with him. Right. Mm-hmm. This time around, he's in the car with his homies or whoever. They're listening to some music. And his boy is in the driver's seat, and he's like videoing it, and Jai is dancing, and then Jai takes out his gun, and but it was the quickest flash because his boy dropped the phone this, super quick. But when you're on live and everybody watches you around the world, nothing goes unnoticed. So they caught it, somebody screenshotted it, and everybody saw it. So that's what happened. And so the suspension, I think, comes spot on what you said. I think it's just a representation. He represents a league. He represents a huge foundation in the NBA. You have to have standards, just like in any corporate setting. Yeah, he's unfortunately the lights and cameras are on him. Mm-hmm. But, for us who actually work in the corporate world, I mean, we do something wrong or we say something wrong, we're going to HR. There's going to be, either a firing or whatever like that. And that's the difference of, being an athlete and actually just being a normal human being. Like if somebody like you and I flashes the gun or something like that, most likely we won't have a job tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're fired, But him being a superstar is a suspension because he's too valuable of a person in this league to just be thrown out to the street. So they're going to give him some rehab and some talking and all this stuff like this, some an apology video, all this other stuff. He's going to be out for a few months just to set an example to do better. He's going to be the poster child of, hey, be smart, don't do anything stupid because we're paying you millions of dollars. And then he's just going to come back and then all is going to be forgotten. So that's just the whole thing.
So couple things. So one, I think it's silly that he did what he did, knowing that he was on thin ice. You just got to be smarter than that, especially when you're in line to get a max contract.
Yep.
But I guess where I'm confused, I kind of slightly disagree with you, is nothing he did. I mean, was anything he did illegal? Like,
no.
So, like, no. I mean, we're not a political show, so I'm not going to get too, and I don't want to get politics. That's not my interest. You're allowed to own a gun in this country.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just confused. So that's kind of where I disagree with you. Like, if somebody came to my house, like a coworker, and they saw that I owned a gun, I'm not going to get fired even if you go to HR. Like, that's not an illegal thing to do. So what is he getting in trouble? Like, is it people, we feel like people look up to him and he can't do that? I guess I'm just confused.
Yeah. So again, like I was saying, if you came to my house and you saw my gun, that's different. Where if I threaten your life or something like that, there needs to be proof that I did that, right? But let's say, again, I'm walking around with my gun and I'm out hanging out and, you follow me on social media or whoever follows me on social media, and I'm sitting here out in the streets and I'm just waving my gun, and then somebody reported me to HR. Then the next day I go to work. Hey, Carlos, can we talk to you? We saw this. Are you? It's sort of like those political, like you just say, political conversations. Hey, Carlos, are you okay? Why was you waving a gun? Sorry. Your stuff is out to the world once you put it in the public eye.
Yeah.
Now, it's stuff like the NBA want to keep their reputation. If our job saw me waving a gun, they want to keep their reputation, and then they're going to be like, well, this guy works for us and represents us, yet he's waving a gun. Same thing with the NBA. He's waving a gun and he's going to represent us. Is that what we is? Because guns, yeah, they're legal. If people use them the right way, it's okay. But let's be realistic. Yeah. People don't. We just had that awful shooting in Allen a few weeks ago. That was terrible. We have people who just use it to just harm and just do the wrong things. And so when you have that image of, everybody don't have the same image of guns as free will and hey, I should have one, which I get it. I agree with that also. I think in order to protect yourself, having a firearm is, I think it's smart to have. I'm not saying guns are bad, right? I'm just saying sometimes in the wrong hands, unfortunately, it causes harm. And then those people don't see that, hey, this person was crazy. They just see that there was a gun involved that caused this harm, caused this pain, caused everything. So we need to stop guns. We don't need to stop the person that did this. We need to stop the guns. And obviously, I think that's the wrong thinking. I really do, because having a gun and to protect yourself. If I'm not saying like if I had a gun, I'm going to go out and just use it because I feel like I need to protect myself at all times. No, but if the situation occurs where I'm out in public and something happens and I can defend myself, because, I'm frightened for my life because somebody else has a gun, then okay, hey, protect yourself. No problem. But if I'm just flashing it just to flash it and people have an image of guns already, like that was his dumb doing. Honestly, it was just stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you're absolutely right. I guarantee. I mean, these dudes make so much money. If not all, it's a high percentage of players who own guns or some sort of protection because of their status in life. But none of them are flashing their guns on social media. You know, and so he slipped up and did that, and
Twice.
now he become twice. And now he becomes the poster boy. And you know what? You said, hey, you know, how can you mess this up? And when you're about to get a max contract and all that stuff, again, Joey, that's far from the point. As far as his contract, because you know what, he's still going to get paid. It doesn't matter.
You think so?
I absolutely, he's still going to get. That's just the world we live in, dude. Like, you're gonna. Again, listen to me. He's gonna.
Okay.
They're gonna suspend him without a doubt. They're gonna suspend him, right? Then he's gonna have an apology and how he needs to go see counseling and all this stuff like that. It's a political. Yeah, he's gonna do it again.
The crazy part is he's gonna do it again already.
But you know what's the even crazier part is that his talents outweigh that, and they either Memphis or somebody else will sign that kid to a max because nobody has the hops and nobody can play basketball the way that he does. There's one Ja Morant. Now, the one thing I will be interested in seeing is if his sponsors will stick around because he just released a new sneaker, the Ja Morant one with Nike. Okay. Nike is a huge, has a huge platform. Yeah. He was going towards that way. Do they stop production of this? I mean, again, what Kyrie did when he had the whole Holocaust, was it the Holocaust? Yeah, it was like a Holocaust video and stuff like that.
Movie.
Yeah, the movie, right? And then Nike cut off all ties, right? Well, is this the same thing? Do they cut off ties with him? Now, if it can be the start. It would take him a longer time to get back to this platform because I can tell you this much. We talk about superstar stuff like we've been talking about. He loses his superstar status if Nike gets taken away, the suspension, and trying to figure out his next move because there will be the conversation will die down when the NBA season starts. But once it's almost that suspension is almost up, then the conversation will start picking back up. Ja Morant's return, blah blah blah, and all this other stuff, and then look at the season, Ja Morant. Then there's going to be a story. Oh, my God. The fall of Ja Morant and the rise of Ja Morant and all this other stuff. And then he's signing a max deal. Oh, I was young and stupid. And, I'm so happy I just signed this 5-year, $1 billion contract. I don't know. It's going to be something ridiculous and stupid. So that's just for right now. Yeah, it wasn't stupid. The stupid part is that he's taking a longer road to his success when it was right there in reach.
Yeah.
He was just being an idiot. It's just stupid. It really is. And anybody who has this opportunity, especially, and I know you, especially you, because I know you well, that you hate talking about race. But being a young black man in this society, and I know you don't know where to go, but being a young black man and doing this, I mean, the spotlight is just bigger, and it's just, that's why it's so stupid, and then you have kids looking up to you and like, why do you, like, what is the point of flashing a gun? I just don't get it. It's just stupid.
So I'm glad you brought up the last point. So one, I'll make myself a little bit clear. I understand why he's suspended in the sense of like, and he should be because you got a second chance and you do it again. Like, as a human being, man, you got to be smarter than that. I guess I was more just confused. It's like, I mean, you can go on YouTube and find videos like that all the time, but so then I sat down and thought about, and this brings me to the point that you mentioned with kids looking up to you. I always find it interesting because we almost put this onus on athletes. Like, they're supposed to, as much as I love sports, I don't idolize athletes, like I'm not going to get my morals or ethics from athletes. I'm going to get them from people I know and trust. But there is this like prevailing thought, I feel like, in society where people look up to them. I guess I wonder kind of why, but then two, I mean, is that is that a right thing? Like, should we put this pressure on athletes when their job is really only to be good at their sport?
Mm-hmm.
Should there be so much pressure on, I don't know, to be a role model in society, I guess?
Right. No, I mean, valid questions. Everybody has their own thought process about that. I can say that, as far as why do we idolize them and why do we look up to them? I mean, everybody is different. I think a majority of the time it just comes from, you know, you fall in love with something because you saw somebody else do it. And you're like, man, that'd be so cool for me to do. And the person that I watch do that makes me want to do that. And I give you a prime example. You know how much I love golf. Why do I love golf so much? Because I watched Tiger Woods do it. Yeah. And he said that. And do I idolize him? Maybe. Everything type. I don't care. You know what? I'll say it. I do. You know why I say that? Because you know what? This dude, I mean, from everything that he went through, from being caught up with all those women, from falling from being the best golfer in the world, trying to figure out his life, dealing with drugs and all that stuff like that. Well, I don't know. I mean, it was more prescription pills. It wasn't like hard drugs, but just the lifestyle that he lived, and you saw his they had like a document or a movie on HBO about him and stuff like that, and you see the behind the scenes stuff. But after all of that, till this day, I still root for Tiger. Every time I see Tiger, I'm excited. I'm like, let's go Tiger. Even if I know he don't have a chance to win, I'm still team Tiger. Like everything is Tiger. But again, that's just the society I think that we live in now, is that, especially, if kids come from broken homes, or there's so much to it that, hey, they just want somebody to look up to, the athletes, I mean, do they have a choice to, like, can I check if I don't want to be an idol? It's just the powers that be, I guess. I mean, unfortunately, the world we live in, I mean, it's all about the dollar bill, y'all. And again, just like we're dealing with the Ja Morant thing, I mean, you paying this kid millions of dollars to do the right thing and portray the right image in society, that in the society we live in now, that they kind of don't have a choice. I mean, and that's just not coming into the NBA. If you look from high school to college to now, they're in front of mics like we are all after every game talking, and so we put them on that pedestal. We see them. I mean, kids these days come to these sporting events with their signs. Oh my God, Giannis, I love you. I came all the way from Spain to see you, and all this other, just sign my, I saw who was it? Oh my God, who was it? It was Harden, actually, James Harden. He had this young kid come to his game, and he was in a wheelchair, and he loved Harden, and he signed his sneakers for him and all. And the kid was absolutely, like, just in shock. You know what I'm saying? But because we just watch them and idolize them and see them, it's just like, hey, I'm sorry, but once you sign that contract to be this huge superstar, you kind of also signed being this idol for kids, and just being this face of the league that everybody see all the time. And not just the league, but then outside of the league, players wear Nike, I want to wear Nike. Players wear Adidas, I want to wear Adidas. Steph, he plays golf. Oh man, I want to start watching golf too then. It's just everything that they do, we follow, because it comes with them signing that big contract. It comes for them being the face of the league. And unfortunately, that's just the world they live in.
That's a good points. I mean, I'll be super clear. I I think everybody, whether you're a professional athlete or not, you should do your best to know your surroundings, and especially when you're around kids, like acting right and setting a good example. The thing I always struggle with, I guess, is, and this is something I need to do better with to kind of reconcile, I guess. Even as a kid, as much as I love sports, I was always able to separate. Like, I never looked at an athlete, I'm like, oh, I want to act just like them. You know what I mean? Like, if an athlete did something wrong, I was able to look at that and be like, that was stupid. Why did you do that?
Yeah.
So it surprises me, I guess, sometimes that, like, I don't know. Like, watch them and respect what they do and try to emulate their game, but why? I don't think you should take everything they do and say as gospel. And it surprises me. I guess the thing I was told once that always kind of stuck with me, I thought was interesting. It was, they asked somebody and they go, why do kids love athletes? And somebody was like, well, it's because you got to see these athletes follow their dreams, and their dreams actually came to fruition, which it's sad, but like, I mean, honestly, how many people in society do we actually see like have a life goal from the beginning and see it all the way through? Now, goals can change, your priorities change. But a lot of these athletes from the time they're like, like you said, they've been playing the sport since they were like 5-6 years old. And they saw that through. And I guess when you're a kid playing the sport, it's like, oh, well, that can actually happen to me one day. So I understand that psychological aspect of it, but I do wish that there was a little more of a human side put to them and be like, hey, these people fall down sometimes and it is what it is. And
yeah. I mean, I think it's more of a shock thing also. I mean, again, if Ja Morant is your favorite player and then you see him doing that, I mean, it's kind of, so one or two things it happens maybe, and I'm not saying, and I hope this doesn't happen, but if some young kid watching Ja Morant and he see Ja Morant waving a gun, are we saying, we're not saying, hey kid, you could go wave a gun too, but if that's what he sees and he think that's okay, because again, we don't know where they come from. We don't know. I don't know what this kid is going through. He probably doesn't have a dad or a mom, and nobody is really watching him. So his means is going to find it himself, and he sees his favorite player do it. So I'm going to go do it too. And who knows what kind of harm he can have, right? But then also on the flip side, whether you have a kid that comes from, that has this, the thought of, hey, I don't like guns, and to see him do that, he just lost a fan to me. I don't want to, I don't want to be anywhere near that. It can go both ways. And unfortunately, again, it's just a society we live in, man. I mean, look at, when I could tell you, what one of the most shocking things to me was the whole Aaron Hernandez situation. I thought he was a great player. And then when I heard what he did, I was like, what is going on? Like, you just don't, because these players are on such a spotlight. Like, all you see is the game. You don't realize that their personal life, what's going on. When I heard somebody like Junior Seau, when he committed suicide, it's just like, what the heck? Like, but you just don't know what these athletes are going on. But unfortunately, again, they're in the spotlight, and it's nothing that, it's a game that they love to play, and this is what comes with it. Can you have the right people around you to help you manage it? I think taking it on themselves maybe can hurt them a lot more, but I think you have the right team, the right people around you, then you can manage it better. I think, again, we're nowhere near the league, but just hearing stories, like, I think they have, like, they have the best, therapists, they have the best healthcare, all this stuff like that they need. I mean, if they just go to see help, if they Ja Morant, if he stay away from these people that are taking videos of him and thinking it's all cool and stuff like that, this wouldn't happen. Now, does he have the right, does he need to make these right decisions? Yes. But people do influence you. The people around you influence you, 100%. To do these things. And so I think he just needs to, one, step away, take the suspension, but find him a whole new team. Just reevaluate. His parents need to talk to him. And, he comes from a great home. That's the crazy part. He comes from a mom and dad. They lived in he went to a private school. Like, oh, he had art, and he's out here just trying to pretend to be a thug. I'm like, what? Like, that doesn't boy, give me $25 million. I'll be whoever you want me to be. Yes, a master. I'll be whoever you want me to be. Shoot, $25 million. You ain't got to tell me twice. Stay away from what? No problem. Sorry, baby, we can't have guns in this house. Get that. Heck no. So, but yeah, it's a sad situation.
It's very sad. I feel bad for Ja. I feel bad for, I don't know. But who knows? I mean, I'm sure the saga's not over. So
Yeah.
but yeah, obviously big story. So I want to make sure we cover it.
Yeah, for sure. No, that was good. Good talk, man.
So I
Got a
guess
few
to
minutes
finish
left.
up, let's
Yeah.
do your Eastern Conference final winner and your Western Conference final winner for NBA. So.
Yeah. Man, that's tough, dude. Lakers in 6.
Okay.
Heat in 7.
Okay. So as much as I want to agree with you, just because I think there may be a little underhanded table adjusting for the games for the Heat Heat Lakers finals, I am going to go Nuggets in 7.
Okay.
And I'm going to go Celtics. I am going to go Celtics in 5.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think the Heat's ride has been fun, but I think the Celtics want to make a statement like they did last night. I think they're going to make quick work of the Heat.
Okay.
So,
okay. I see.
And then I'll cover the finals once that matchup is set. And then you got Game 7 of Stars cracking tonight.
Yes.
What do you think?
Man, I mean, it's been such a back and forth, high scoring game. I mean, right now, obviously, the favorite has to be the Stars because they're in Dallas. I mean, I want to say Dallas, but love a good underdog. So I'm gonna pick the Kraken tonight. I'm gonna say 4-3 OT. I think they're going to overtime,
very
and
specific.
I think the Kraken win it 4-3. Yeah.
So I do want Dallas, but I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go Kraken 3-2 in regulation. I think it ends up being a lower scoring game than people anticipate. I think Ottinger,
because it's been a high scoring game. It's been nothing but high scoring game. So yeah.
But I think Ottinger and Grubauer take it to another level. It's just going to be who breaks last. And that would put the Kraken up against the Vegas Knights. And that's one of the reasons I'm picking the Kraken. I think people overall for the TV ratings, people want to see outside Dallas, people want to see Seattle versus Vegas, the two most recent expansion teams. And then it starts Wednesday, but we can jump ahead. Florida against Carolina.
Yeah. Again, man, I mean, these two are set up to just be a game 7, I mean, just a back and forth good battle. I'm telling you, Florida, I'm not leaving Florida as, I'm staying with them. I said they was going to do what they did, where they at right now. Again, they're just, to close it out away, didn't even have to do it at home. That says a lot.
Yeah.
And so, I just think, I mean, they Kraken. Canes demolished the Devils. But the way that Florida made Toronto look, because I still think I mean, we talked about this before. I think the Devils are still young. I think they'll be, they'll be right there soon. So I expect that, you expect that from the Canes. But what Florida did to Toronto, I mean, man, I gotta go. I'm taking Florida in 7.
Okay. I'm a little bit torn because I've said on the show past a couple times ago, I think Florida will go on to win the cup. But I also picked the Canes in my first bracket I made. And going into the playoffs, it was the Canes for me. I'll ride Florida in 7 with you. I'll agree with you.
I was waiting for you to say Canes.
Nah, because I said Florida, the way they're playing Stanley Cup. I'll ride with Florida all the way to the cup. So yeah, we'll see. Nice. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's a long series. And
then and we just have to we'll be back on Wednesday, but we'll talk about
PGA Championship.
Yeah, PGA Championship. But then, like I said, Game 7 tonight, Stars and Kraken, and then we're to see who who will be playing them. Yeah, so.
And then I don't know if game 1 of the WC is tomorrow or not. The Western Conference Finals for basketball.
Yeah. Well, let's see. See what's coming up. I'm researching right now on Google. And then also coming up, I mean, we got to talk about the release of the NFL schedule.
Yes.
Yeah, and just see what we got looking forward to from this upcoming season. And yes, game 1, Lakers Nuggets tomorrow at 7:30.
Okay. The
Central
NBA
Time,
draft
8:30.
lottery is tomorrow also. So we'll see.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we'll know who has the number 1 pick on Wednesday.
Okay.
And I have been doing a little bit of research on the draft. It's a boy from France who.
Oh, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, yeah.
But who are the let's see, hold up.
Detroit has the best odds.
Detroit, okay. And
then I think the Spurs.
Detroit, Rockets, Spurs, and top 3. Pistons, Rockets, Spurs, Hornets, and Blazers to
Detroit and Rockets will also have a new coach. So
oh yeah, that's
most likely you'll have a team with the number 1 pick that has a new coach. So
yeah. All right, cool. Well, man, good topics, Joseph.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that. Yeah, man. Yeah, I love it. So yeah, man. Good times as always, and let's end this out, man.
Let's play it out. Here we go.
Yeah, till next time,
everybody.